Heyo, I'm Bethania and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be learning how you can recycle your old, ugly, very ugly oil paintings. I never knew that you could actually restart on a oil painting until I went to college, and this is how I was taught to basically restart, repurpose, recycle. You know what I mean? So some things you will need, obviously, your ugly old oil paintings. That's number one. Number two, this is very, very important. Important. However you say it. You need one of these. And you're probably thinking, Bethany, you're over-exaggerating, and I'm not. You need a freaking mask so that you can do this. And I'm not talking like the blue COVID masks. We need a serious mask. Respirator, okay? And this is very important. Very important, okay? Don't skip on this. I know they're expensive, but get one if you really want to restart and sand down everything of what this is gonna do, okay? All right, so you have your respirator, which is more important. And then number three, you need some sandpaper. But yeah, let's just jump into it. So after you have everything set up, I usually will have a specific piece of cardboard that I will lay it on so that all of the dust will go on the cardboard itself. It's not going to go on the floor. It's going on a place that I can then throw it away later on. Definitely recommend doing that so then you're not, freaking out later on if there's a bunch of oil dust everywhere. Yeah. Just put something down underneath it. You'll be fine. Even a plastic bag. You can do that. Like a big plastic bag. That'll be fine. But you're going to sand. You're gonna sand. You're gonna sand. You're gonna sand. Lots of sanding, okay? I will start off with the fine grit, just so that I can see how thick the paint is and how much I really need to sand off. Usually, if there is, very important, if there is a lot of texture and a lot of paint on the canvas, you can still sand it down, which is fine, but you're going to probably need to start with the 80 grit or a more coarse grit, because it is going to be really challenging to try and sand it as much as you can down, trying to get the oil paint off. So I first went over with the finer grit and then realized, oh, oops, I need to go with that more coarse grit. So I went in with the 80, and I didn't film the entire thing, but I just sanded and sanded and sanded some more. You basically want to try and sand as much as you can off of it. That's probably the most important thing, because when we do the second part, which is the gessoing and everything, you want to make sure that all of that oil paint is basically off so that you can start a new painting. One other thing, probably just to keep in mind, is if you have animals or even children, do not let them come in the same room when you are sanding, just to be extra safe. And I know it's being extra safe and everything with wearing a mask and, putting something down underneath it so then it can catch all the dust. But your oil paint is a lot more dangerous than what you think it is. I remember until I got into college and my professor teaching us about, how hazardous the toxins in some of the paints are, especially like the zinc white, your cadmiums. They all have a little red symbol on them. That means it's very dangerous for you to inhale it. That is why I'm always wearing a glove. That is also another really important thing. You need a glove. Or even if you wear a bag over your hand, that'll be fine. At least the hand that is sanding. You can always definitely wash your hands after you're done sanding and everything, because you want to make sure you don't have any of that on you. And you don't give it to anybody to accidentally, sniff. I know it's weird. It's being really extra safe, but trust me, just be safe. So I know some of you are thinking, Bethany, why the heck would I want to sand my old oil painting? Because if it's canvas and it's fabric, you know, stretched canvas, it's going to not be as tight as it used to be, and you have to, like, you know, use a lot of pressure to sand off everything. And I know, okay? But you can always, I do this all the time when I have stretch canvas that I'm sanding. I will use extremely hot water on the back of the canvas before and after I gesso, okay? It works all the time for me. Or you can even resort to the really, really tough stuff, which is rabbit skin glue you get at the store. And if you put that on the back of your stretch canvas, it's gonna tighten everything up again. It's gonna look brand new. You won't even tell the difference. Obviously, if you have a wooden board, which is like usually something that most oil painters work with, which is like masonite or just hardwood in general, it is a lot easier, obviously, to sand that down, but you can, in fact, sand down stretch canvas. It works. Trust me, I've done it before. Typically, one thing I do when I am sanding something like this is I will put paper towel on one corner of the canvas underneath so it's easier for cleanup. Obviously, if you're using like just a bag underneath it, it's a lot easier because you can just take the bag and then throw it away. But I use a specific cardboard and then I will put paper towel underneath. But you can even see all of the oil paint dust that is like accumulating from the painting itself. And this is exactly why you need to wear protective gear and wear a Sears mask. I've made so many ugly paintings in my life, and this is why I needed to, like, you know, be able to learn how to restart from the beginning and have a new canvas. Because one, it saves you money, and two, you don't have to stretch a new canvas. Simple as that. Especially for your like specific sized canvases that you can't get in stores and you have to like cut yourself. That is why I like to sand things down and restart if I need to. Okay, so you have sanded as much as you can. If you can see the white though pretty decently, you're good to go. You've sanded as much as you can sand. So now the hard part's over, but you need to clean up. Clean up right away after you have taken a paper towel, you know, have gone over it a couple of times to make sure all the dust is off, but clean up afterwards. Obviously, keep your mask on the whole time until everything is cleaned up with the dust part. I will get a separate bag that I can tie everything up in, and then just to be extra safe, this is how I take off my gloves when I'm painting and when I'm sanding, okay? You take it off backwards so then you can conceal everything that's inside or that your glove has touched, and you can just throw it away. Simple as that. Close up the bag, throw it away, and you're good to go. I will also throw away sandpaper that I know has like oil paint on it from sanding, or if it's still good and it has oil paint on it, you can put it in a separate bag with all of your sandpaper. That's what I do sometimes. So the hard part's over. You've cleaned everything up, and now you can just gesso. Obviously, gessoing is pretty simple and straightforward. You go one direction, you wait for it to dry, you sand, you go the other direction, you wait for it to dry, you sand. You can do it again. It's up to you. It's really not that challenging. Gesso's really easy, but if need be, I could totally do another video on gessoing itself. There was a technique I used to use for gessoing where I would take a squeegee so that it could be like so smooth, but now I've kind of given up on that because that takes a long time. Right now, I just kind of resort to the usual stuff because it's just as good. As long as you sand in between each gessoing session, you're fine. And there you go. You basically have a brand new canvas. You don't have to restretch it, and you just have to sand it down, which is, it's pretty easy. You're saving money, which is important as an artist. And yeah. Anyways, You know the vibes. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.